never heard that, but that's the origin of cap. I'm going to look this up. I'm going to look.
There's a principle that
Right.
we have to follow.
Yeah.
We have to have.
Be true to yourself. You don't have.
And when I came back, the place was a mess. So I knew I was a mess.
Deep in here now.
It's
deep.
incredible. I love it.
Me
That's
too.
good.
Yeah.
That's good.
And applying the recovery out there.
Are we talking to
Now
each
we are.
other?
Go.
Or are we talking to the TV?
Intro, baby. Intro.
Intro.
Hit your intro off, player. Jesse ain't been up here in a while. He don't know all the new antics.
So, no, he's getting really good at that over there. Are we talking to each other?
Yeah, let's talk to each other.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Like and subscribe, everybody out there. It's one of those quick little promos we want to throw out there to y'all. We threw one out last week. We're looking for our goal of 1,000 subscribers. So we're going to sit down and talk a little bit of recovery. And hopefully you'll tune in and down there at the bottom, you'll subscribe to our podcast.
Doesn't the 1,000th subscriber get a special gift? I think it's a pony.
yeah, a
The
t-shirt.
1,000th subscriber. Can you see who is actually see who would be?
Yes,
the
I will.
1,000?
Be. Yeah, they.
You know, those
Show you
golf
in person?
hats are really nice.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll show you the YouTube subscriber.
Yeah, I'll be able to see it. Yeah.
Ooh, you might be the first recipient of the Recovery Fest shirt before
So
they
you
come
can
out.
see every subscriber from here on out.
Yeah,
How many
notifies
subscribers
me.
are there right now?
Let's find out.
970,
hard count on these
965.
things.
Because we might, what we could do is just raffle the next 25 people, and the winner will get $100 gift card.
For real. You know the work I had to put in for $100 gift cards, and all I had to do was be the 1,000th
What do you say?
subscriber.
900 what?
968. We need 32.
Oh,
So 32
32.
more. So 32 more. So the next 32 to subscribe will get entered into a raffle.
Yeah,
For
let's
a
do it.
$100 gift card. So everybody out there listening, subscribe right now, and you will get entered into a raffle. You see their names, Steve. You got to get their names.
I will. You can spend it on whatever you want.
That's right.
I mean, you could possibly get a T-shirt out of the deal. Maybe last year's Recovery Fest T-shirt.
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe a special
you never know.
gifts.
It could be
Mystery
in the goodie
gift.
bag. I like last year's Recovery Fest T-shirts. Like one of my favorite T-shirts.
And it says getting hurt on it.
Yeah, it says getting hurt. Oftentimes, I've brought this up before, but Jesse, you and your wife, we sometimes do the matching T-shirts or the matching sweatshirts. They'll say hubby and wife or whatever. And I'm not adverse to going down those roads. I'm totally like lame like that, like you and your wife.
So are you going to jet with you and your?
Well, no, what we do, and instead, because we don't have those, and I'm not a big orderer of Amazon, sometimes we'll put on the Recovery Fest shirts. They really pair well with a nice tan.
They certainly do.
Yeah, don't they?
Very white.
Yeah, the crispy white T-shirt.
Contrast,
Yeah, and then it's got
contrast,
some good colors going on there. Great logos. It's my favorite T-shirt. It was like a toss-up between the alumni shirt with the purple on it, because that feels in good for Purple Wednesday. As you can see, my laundry hasn't been done today. Like these two fine students of
What color shirt was last year? White.
yeah. It was all white and it had the Recovery Fest. There was some orange in it, getting the herd, and there were some other sponsorships.
Big
that were on
20
it.
in the middle.
Big old 20 in the middle
Yeah.
because it was the 20th anniversary of Recovery Fest. So
Yeah.
that would make this year coming up the 21st.
21.
21.
Last year was 20,
21.
then that means this year is 21.
Old enough for recovery.
That's right. Legally.
Yeah, but if y'all don't mind, as Jesse has requested, suggested, asked,
Just subscribe.
begged, pleaded.
Just push the button. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, it's free and it supports a community. This podcast is man, they watch it in jails. They love it. I'm not sure if they love it because of the content or because if they watch so many of them and they get a free ticket to watch a movie. Either way, they're getting the recovery
Yeah.
content.
But if you subscribe on YouTube, it pushes us up in the feed, in the algorithm, so that somebody that's out there who might need to hear something we say could hear it.
Yeah, you never know what sticks with somebody too. It's the weirdest things. I'll have people come up to me and they'll say, "You know that one thing you said to me," and then I think to myself, "Well, I talk a lot, so I really can't think of the one thing."
Which one?
Yeah.
But it'll be
So many.
it'll be the most off the wall thing that like clicks, and they'll just say, "Hey, man, that resonated, and it made me think a little differently about things concerning my life." And I'll be like, wow, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's weird because I don't even remember saying that sometimes. And but it's a weird thing when you're kind of living. Well, they say work recovery. It becomes more like a lifestyle. Would you agree? A frame of mind.
Mhm.
And you don't even realize it's just kind of the way you live now. You're constantly trying attempts of self-improvement, self-reflection, self-revelation. It just becomes a part of who you are. I was thinking about. Oh, go ahead, just.
Well, I just was going to ask you what y'all were doing the kind of orientation community a little earlier, and you said that you started crying. What were you sharing about?
Yeah.
What sparked?
It's a good share there.
Yeah, it is something. There's been two. Jesse, you remember we did a podcast a while back, and I'll get right into it. I'm not gonna like over fill the air with words, but you said, one time I used to hear these things that were in books, and they seemed so profound at the time, and it was just a regurgitation. But when you attach something to those things that seem profound and like a self-revelatory manner, then they are quite profound. And there's been a couple saying
when you attach it to something like that's happening with
yeah. There's been like one time I heard, and I'm sure it's in a book somewhere too, but I just heard it. And when I heard it, it just like things clicked for me. And now I repeat it ad nauseum sometimes, but it's, God is often found on the other side of willingness, or God is found on the other side of willingness. I was like, oh my God, man. And I've conquered like anxiety and depression and stuff like that by just being willing, especially anxiety, like fear of not being good enough to do this, not being good enough to do that. Even with all those fears, I'm still willing to go forward. And those things have subsided because of willingness. God met me on the other side of willingness. So that one I know is true from experience. So it resonated. But you ever smelled and I'll kind of tell the story. I hate to repeat stories, but Steve was in there for this. So sorry, Steve, you got to listen to it again.
It's a good story. It's always different.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if I get more emotional now because of recovery or because I'm getting older. It could be a toss-up. But yesterday, we went to the gym, Jess, and I was in the parking lot of Sheets. And I used to be such a taker of everything. I was a taker. And now I live kind of a life of service, in some varying degree, trying to help the newcomer, the next person, or whoever I can, man. Really, I get a lot of satisfaction out of that. And so if I see somebody in need or in need of help, I'm willing to go forward and help in the best manner I can, ego aside, just whatever I can do. And so I was in the parking lot. I was supposed to meet you at the gym. And I looked over at the gas pump and I seen a young lady passed out right there. Almost looked like close to death. I wasn't sure either way. But the one thing I was sure of was that I was going to pull over there and find out for myself. I got Narcan in the back of my car. I carry it around just in case. Narcan, great tool, saved a bunch of lives. I keep it in my car because you never know.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, you never know when you might need it. So I pulled over there and I got a better look. And she was passed out clearly. Her car was a newer car, but it was tore up on the sides, windows scraped up, rear view mirror on the sides with the side mirrors, all busted up and
hanging
taped
on
up.
Duct tape. And,
Yeah, obviously all the signs of somebody who might be in active substance use. Their substance use disorder is active.
Fully in the throes.
In the bowels of despair. So I walked over there and, I took a picture too, just in case. I know they got Good Samaritan laws and all that now, but you never know. Just kind of recording just in case they wake up and be like, hey, what are you?
Right.
And there's some kind of confrontation. I have, hey, look, I thought you were, passing away or passed away. It's that serious now. It's that serious. It's not the drugs of our forefathers.
I like that.
Yeah, so to speak.
Like what Washington and Jefferson.
Yeah, not that they were ever good and people have always died. It just seems so particularly dangerous these days, fatal in a lot of instances. So I knocked on the window and then there was no response. And so I knocked on the window again and there was a little stir. So I was like, yes, okay. So now I know, beat on it again and I won't have to use the Narcan, So I beat on it again and she woke up and she cracked the door. And just like if you smell something that reminds you of something comforting, like mother's cooking, take you back to when you were a kid and you were having your grilled cheese sandwiches and your soup. When she cracked the door, the smell teleported me back immediately. And it was more in the fashion of when you get locked up and you've been running the streets a lot. I don't know if anybody out there listening has been through this, but you're running the streets and you're in active use, and you could have been wearing the same clothes for how many days, Steve?
Weeks.
Weeks.
They have a life of their own.
I was a 5 t-shirt guy myself, you know.
You just take one off.
Yeah.
Just rotate them.
Take it off, put it back on. But when the car cracked open, my mind was teleported back to your clothes when you get locked up, and they put them in that bag, and you do your 6 months or 3 months, your jail time, and they hand you the bag back, and there's like a smell associated with it.
Yeah.
That's what it smelled like when she opened the door, and I was like, you know, I almost like went into judging because I see somebody in such despair, but in that smell, I'm like, oh, how can you look like that? You know, how can you be in this car with all the windows rolled up and all your stuff packed in there?
That's why she's out.
Yeah, but yet I still felt such a sympathy towards her. Used to be I would look at somebody that was in that state of affairs and I'd be attracted to it. Like, I want to be knocked out too.
You must have something good.
Yeah. Now I feel like a sympathy of like, oh my God, I know there's like a better way, you know? And, you know, she woke up and she gave me that story, and I was going through all these things at the same time and processing it all in my head. And when she told me she was all right and gave a little story about like kind of playing it off, because she probably didn't know who I was. Is this guy the police? Is he what? You know, I'm waiting on my sister. She's coming. I'm out of gas. When clearly you were close to death's door.
Yeah.
Even if the drugs weren't taking you there yet, your state of affairs definitely looked like it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like open food in there, and it just was like. So anyways, I was kind of in the middle of like, oh man, you know, I like to help where I can, and I was kind of in a cross between almost judgment, and the words that came out of my mouth was like, well, I'm glad you're okay, because I was giving you Narcan in your butt, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I walked away, and I left. And I was texting you at the time, Jesse, and you know those words that you said. As soon as you said them, I started tearing up like immediately. You know, like it hit me. You know, by the grace of God, there go I. And I was like, yeah, because my clothes used to smell like that. You know, and I was probably in a car like that in the worst state of affairs. And only by God, me on the other side of willingness, and by the grace of God, there go I. But when I got there, I'd even talked to you, and I asked you, I don't know, it was like affecting me deeply. I was like, I didn't give her my card. And that's what I was relaying to our participants down there, those coveted seats that they're in right now, with the chance at a new life, you know?
Right.
How grateful would that girl have been for maybe an opportunity like that? But in my quickness and probably like selfishness to get to the gym quickly, and one-track mind, I forgot to give the card. Not saying that I don't know if it would have done any good or not done any good. I don't know, you know?
Right.
But I always think, man, if somebody just has it, you never know. Like, they just pull up, because people just do that. And Jesse, you said something about this building being like such a special place. Like, after people leave, they still come back, because there's just something about this building. And I always think of anybody in that state of affairs, that they can just make it to the building. You know what I mean? Just make it to the building. And maybe my card could have been a ticket for that, you know, and I missed that opportunity. So like affected me a little bit, you know, I thought about it. And yeah, that's kind of what I was relaying to the participants down there. So what a great chance you have, you know, when you think about petty complaining, things going on in the house, sober living house. I mean, they all have their things that you can complain about.
Little things.
Yeah. And your remember gets broke in the state of affairs that you were in before. You know, how quickly our brain, this disease is so like insidious and crazy. It like blinds you to the things that you just went through. But yet it will remember things fondly.
Yeah.
That were desperate.
Turn it around.
Yeah. And so, you know, I love that, you know, just to relate to the participants, you know, you don't have to be here. You get to be here.
Yeah. That's a good piece. You don't have to be here. You get to be here.
Yeah.
Definitely. So that's what got you. I mean, that's good, man. That it definitely is. It's, you know, we were talking about it. It's like an awakening of the spirit for us. When you're sitting there new in the seats, you know, like the participants are, sometimes it's hard for them to like grasp the reality of like what they're in, you know, like how lucky,
fortunate.
Yeah. Fortunate to be in those seats, man, and definitely take it for granted. Because like, for the grace of God, there goes I, man.
Yeah.
Something that keeps me, and like with like listening to that, right, and like just life in general. Before we came on, you were sharing a story about how your dad gives like unfortunate news to people, right, or like gives bad news to people. It had me, because I'm just thinking, right. I'm emotionally somewhere else, and I'm thinking about like what you were saying about your dad, this lady in the car, the participants here, right. And like there's just so much to life, right. One moment can change somebody's life, right. And it's it can be the jarring experience for somebody to do something different, or it can be that one experience that makes them go off to the left, right. I'm glad that like there's people in my life that will keep me from going the other way when those moments happen,
Yeah.
and I hope the participants take advantage of that, right, because it's just one decision, man. One little moment can happen, and that's what happened to me. I'm thinking about like Cam, right, what we were talking about, like me when I hurt my knee, like I just went off to the left and just started shooting dope, drinking, partying, and then it never stopped. Like, and it was all pity pot for me. And that's where my head goes when like that with my son, like what happened, what's going to happen with him? Is he going to go off now?
Yeah.
And like make that decision to go way over here because he's losing what he wants to do,
Yeah. When you put all your hopes and dreams into one thing and like with no plan B or something, it's just something you want so bad.
Yeah.
And then like outside forces and then health and things like that are making a different decision for you, yeah, that can be a tight place to be into.
Yeah. And those, I don't know, man. I'm glad, those participants made the decision to be here, and like you said, man, that they are very fortunate. Hopefully they take advantage of it, of being here. And anybody out there, man, if you need to make that decision, man, just, jump off the rock, get up out your seat, make the decision to come.
Make it to the parking lot.
Yeah, make it to the parking lot, come into the building.
Yeah, make it to the parking lot, man.
Just give it a chance, consider it.
Yeah, that spiritual principle of willingness, man. And we go over them a lot too, man. And if that's a true statement that God is on the other side of willingness, that's very hopeful,
Yeah.
It's very hopeful.
Well, they told me, man, this is I'm just thinking, I was keep thinking about Cam, like what I want to give him, right? They told me willingness, God's on the other side of willingness. What I learned is willingness is the foundation of all growth. So what am I willing to do today? If I get a setback, what am I willing to do? And that's the start of growth. That's the foundation of growth. That's how I can grow. That's what I do. And to this day in my recovery, what am I willing to do? I wake up in the morning, I make my bed. Am I willing to go to the gym? And then I want to, and that's the foundation of growth. When I come here and I get to work, tonight I got my home group I got to go to. What am I willing to do? And that willingness, man, that's the foundation of all growth. Is so important.
Yeah, you got to throw it on stuff too, because I would assume that maybe everybody to some varying degree deals with this, but it's strange, in particular people with substance use disorder, how your brain works in direct opposition to that. So if you're willing, you really got to get up. You got to get up and you got to do something different. And I think that's where like sometimes a lot of my anxieties would come from because I'd never done anything positive or anything worthwhile or anything that was recovery related or just anything related. But yet I was willing on the negative side, I was very willing to get up in the morning and get moving,
Yeah.
And I was very willing to do whatever it had to do.
Yeah.
And it paid off in a different way. It was all negative results, but it paid off nonetheless. There was still a payout,
A lot of results.
So if we're going by that rationale, if we're willing to put that best step forward to something positive, even though we can't see what the results will be, that's a perfect analogy too, though, because you never know how these things are paying off. Like when we're in the gym, Like I don't know what the reward is going to be. I know like the quick one is I feel better automatically, you know? Yeah. And I know that for a fact. But yet I still have to talk myself into getting up. I got to do it. I got to be willing to do it. Yeah. But you don't see the payoffs immediately. You don't see the results immediately.
It takes time, you know, but the results come, you know, and then I this often, you know, people will look at they'll look at all of us, you know, all of us here sitting here, you know, Steve, you and me. They'll see us driving in a car, they'll see us with a driver's license, they'll see us with our own place to live in, you know, wives, fiancés, you know, kids, and what they see is they see the finished product. They didn't see the before, you know, they see the after. And so sometimes for participants or for somebody new in recovery, it's hard to grasp like they can get to there. Right? And that's why it's always so important. You know, that's why 12 step like is thrives so much. You know, 12 steps like probably the biggest pathway. And not that their other pathways are bad, but part of the reason why is because they talk about what it was like, you know, and you often see people at their worst, right? You know, and that's the hope shot. That's what they talk about. Hope. The only spiritual principle I can give you is hope, and the hope is, you know, well, dang, you did what I did, you know, and so, you know, sooner or later, though, what I've learned is, and I never thought this would happen, right? But like when I can look back at my own story, like my own story gives me hope. Like when I can look back, like when I finally now see, you know, you rewind and you look back, and you're like, damn, man, like when you knocked on the window and you seen the lady, you're like, that was me at one time, right? You know, and then you see where you're at now, you know, going to the gym to work out and then going to work in your own car, right? So, oh man, that's a hope shot for me. You know, and that's how it is. You know, I for me, sometimes I look back, I'm like, damn, man, I got to pinch myself, man. You know, it was tough. It was tough, right? You know, putting that in perspective for newcomers is so hard. So if you can continue, if you're in this realm of things that you do here, that we do, you know, Steve and Travis, you're really good at this. You know, if you can continue to reach the new person to let them know, hey, look, I'm just like you, like I'm no different, then you'll be very beneficial in what we do, right? When you get to the point where you're not that it's bad, because some people just have different positions they're going to do in this atmosphere of life and of recovery, right? Yeah. But when you're at the position where they can't relate to you, then it's very hard for you to reach them. Yeah, it's very hard for them to believe that you did what I did. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you ain't shoot no dope, right? You ain't do what I did. So when you can continue to do that, I think that's a great tool to have, man, because that's what helps me. I don't want nobody trying to tell me how to stay clean if they didn't do what I did, you know, or weren't where I was at one time. That's right. Yeah, because the possibility of that life doesn't seem possible to them. Yeah. But if something, man, if you can just believe in those possibilities, man, and that is pretty fulfilling when you can be a little cog or a piece into somebody's eyes open into possibilities. Yeah, because it is possible. Right. I think, yeah, man, just where you were at, just where I was at, the process of going. And look, man, these things, you know, it's weird too, because of like a person that's been incarcerated for years at a time, or a year, and then they spent so much time, you know, without any positive results, and in the grips of substance abuse disorder. And then you ask a newcomer, you know, just give me a couple of days. And a couple of days, you know, time is relative. It might seem like an eternity, and then you might say something like, give me, you know, give it 6 months, you know. And man, in the realm of time and space, it's like nothing. It's not even a blip on the radar, not even a blip on this microphone. 6 months, a year. Yeah, exactly. The benefits that can be attained in just that small amount of time are like amazing.
Things naturally come back to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to you know, make this long, so we probably can end on this, man. We wanted to do something quick to get some stuff out there to y'all. I know me and Travis haven't been on here together in a while.
Yeah, so, it's been a long time.
And I'm just, you know, in my space right now, but I'm glad we got on here and did it, man. That was a good piece, Trav. I can see why that was an emotional.
It's very strange how these things hit you.
for you. Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just. I mean, it's because of the stuff that we've been through, and for us to get to the other side, when we see people like that, we can relate. We know the struggle. We know how painful
Yeah,
it
the
is.
feeling.
Empathy for that stranger.
Yeah.
Empathy, yeah.
And I'm telling you, I think that's why it's bothering me so much with my son right now, because I know that pain that he's gonna go through. Because he did tearing the ACL again.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell him that I didn't know. I know he's gonna be devastated because he was ready to play. He was ready to go this year, and now he's got to sit out again, man.
Yeah, and that being the case, though, very, not advantageous, but that you've been through it, so you can give some guidance, some moral guidance at this. It was a critical fork in the road.
Yeah.
So life experience pays off again for you, even though you had to do it the hard fought way. Maybe that can ease Cam a little bit. But anyways, we're all praying and hoping for Cam quick, speedy recovery. What about you, Steve? What do you got?
Yeah, I can imagine. That's tough. That's tough. I feel way more for my child than I do for myself, like as far as negative things. So
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tough spot to be in. Well, look, man, if anybody out there is listening, man, and you need some services, make it to the McShin Foundation, 2300 Dumbarton Road. The parking lot, man, what a safe place. And there is something about this building, man. It's magical.
7 days a week, too.
7 days a week open.
Before you scroll on by this, hit that subscribe button, help us reach our goal. We're going to raffle the last 32 people. I think it was 32, right? Last 32 people to subscribe. Your names will enter a raffle for $100.
You could be the lucky recipient of a t-shirt also.
Easiest money ever made.
That's right.
Easy money. I mean, that's kind of money.
Yeah, it is.
That easy money. All right, y'all. Have a blessed one. Peace.